Oromia and the Ethiopian state, the unresolved colonial question, and the path to genuine federation. Welcome to Digital Oromia, where history meets justice and the voices of the silent speak loud and clear. Today, we confront a truth that many would rather ignore. The Ethiopian empire was built on conquest, not consent. And the story of Oromia is not one of peaceful inclusion, but of colonial domination, a truth still unresolved to this day. When the 1995 Ethiopian Constitution was drafted, the Oromo people were excluded from the process. Yet, in the spirit of peace and coexistence, they accepted it, hoping it would usher in a new era of equality and federalism. But what followed was not federalism, not autonomy, not justice. Instead, it was a facade, a centralized empire dressed in federal clothing. In this episode, Jaal Ibsaa Guutamaa asks, is Ethiopia truly a federation or just an empire in disguise? And what would it take to build a genuine democratic union that respects the rights of nations like Oromia? Jaal Ibsaa Guutamaa is a veteran of Oromo liberation struggle and minister of the Ministry of Education during the short-lived and aborted transition after the fall of Derg in 1991. He is well known for his historically powerful poem, Ethiopia Manu, meaning what makes one Ethiopian, Ibsa Gutema, a key architect of Ethiopia's modern education system, once told VOA that introducing the Qubee alphabet and advancing Oromo literacy was a remarkable success. As a leader in the OLF and Minister of Education during the Transitional Charter, Ibsa played a central role in establishing the educational foundations that would shape the country for nearly 2 decades until 2008. He championed the creation of the Oromo alphabet, Qubee, and led efforts to institutionalize education in Oromia, using Afaan Oromo as the primary language of instruction, empowering a population that makes up over 35% of Ethiopia's total. Stay with us as we unpack the history, the betrayals that followed, and the way forward. Colonialism in Ethiopia is not a chapter we can simply skip. Colonialism should not be passed over in silence. Though the Oromo people were not represented during the drafting of the 1995 Ethiopian Constitution, they accepted it as a gesture toward peace and coexistence. However, in practice, there was neither a functioning constitution nor real federalism. What existed was a feigned structure. For some Ethiopianist Oromo individuals and organizations, the Constitution became an excuse to silence demands. What more do you want? They would say. Yet historically, the Ethiopian kingdom and then the empire were built by peoples, primarily from today's Amhara and Tigray regions, with Amharic as the dominant language. Power shifted between the two, but both upheld the same imperial crown. Their loyalty was not to the person in power, but to the symbol of the crown itself. The 1995 Constitution was introduced under TPLF-EPRDF rule, following decades of armed struggle. At the time, multiple colonized nations were engaged in liberation movements, the most prominent being the Eritrean Fronts and the Oromo Liberation Front, OLF. Eritrea, once part of Tigray a century earlier, allied its highlands with the lowlands and declared independence in an effort to make peace with the Oromo and other groups that were not part of Ethiopia a century prior. The TPLF initiated a transitional government under a national charter. 10 regional states were created, many corresponding to historically colonized nations. In principle, these federated states were the creators of the central federal government, as stated in the Constitution. In practice, however, the central government was shaped in the image of past Abyssinian rule. TPLF dominated it, speaking Amharic and appointing agents to control the regions. The supposed sovereignty of these federated states became fictional. They operated as subordinates, not as autonomous entities. All political, social, and economic decisions were dictated from the center. This ignited the Oromo Revolution. Eventually, the youth-led protests dismantled the TPLF-led rule, only for it to be replaced by a bogeyman in its image, more deceptive and authoritarian. Now, many shy away from confronting the truth. They avoid acknowledging the colonial status of over 70 nationalities. If genuine unity is the goal, formal decolonization is necessary. All nations must be declared equal and sovereign over their own territories. Only then can voluntary reorganization into a federal union be legitimate and just. Ethiopianists, Oromo, and others must recognize this truth. Genuine freedom starts with self-respect. No one should expect equality without first standing on their own feet. No one should expect love without being sure the other party is sincere. The Amhara elite, to date, have not accepted the Oromo demand for decolonization and national self-determination. It is time the colonizer and the colonized name their true relationship. Invoking ancient history to distract from present injustice is disingenuous. If any people can speak of ancient civilization in the Horn of Africa, it is the Oromo, one of Africa's oldest and indigenous civilizations. Unless the peoples of the region acknowledge their real relationships and identify the root causes of their problems, lasting solutions will remain out of reach. Let us not put the cart before the horse. Let us first accept the colonial nature of the relationship between Oromia and the Ethiopian state. Only from this common premise can we tackle regional problems honestly and in the spirit of African equality and justice. Even if integration under the current framework poses challenges, sincere dialogue can offer solutions. But if the core issue is ignored, the Oromo freedom movement will persist. Oromiyan Hajiratu. Long live Oromia. This was a message from Jaal Ibsaa Guutamaa. And remember, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. A new digital space where truth, culture, and justice converge for all oppressed peoples, especially the Oromo. Here at Digital Oromia, we don't rewrite history. We uncover it. We don't ask for permission to exist. We stand for sovereignty, dignity, and truth. If this message speaks to you, do your part. Subscribe. Tap the bell icon to stay updated. Drop a comment. Share this truth with the world. Digital Oromia, deconstructing empire digitally.